Hello, everyone. Welcome to English Teaching and Learning Podcast. This is our first episode in a series of episodes related to English learning and English teaching. Today, we will discuss about risk-taking, self-efficacy, anxiety, and motivation. And to do this, we are going to invite to the panel international English teachers that are here to share with us their thoughts, their experiences, and everything they have done in their journey of learning and, of course, teaching. So let's welcome Liu Shen, Mohammed, and Tao.
Hello.
So, how are you guys?
Good.
Let's let's
How are
start with
I'm
you?
doing
Mohammed.
good.
How are you, Mohammed?
Sorry?
How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm pretty well, thank you. Liu Xin, how are you?
Pretty good. Just to finish our second observation.
Okay, that's great. And Tao, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, perfect. Well, guys, today we're going to start then discussing some interesting topics. And the first question is related to self-efficacy. Tao, what
Yes.
does self-efficacy mean to you, and how does it impact your approach to learning English?
Okay. So, in my opinion, self-efficacy is like the belief or the confidence in your ability, what you can achieve, and what you can do in learning. Yeah. And self-efficacy is very important to me in helping me to learn better because it's like something like confidence. When I have efficacy, then I'm more confident, and I believe the I believe more in my ability and what I can do to achieve my goals.
And
Yeah.
this self-efficacy impact your approach to learn English?
Yeah, I did mention it to some extent that the approach. I think it's more like the attitude for like learning. Yeah, is it
Okay.
the same as approach?
Okay, that's
Yeah.
great. That's great. Lichin, what about you? What's your opinion about self-efficacy? What is this concept means to you? What this concept means to you?
Yeah, just like Tol said, I think the self-efficacy is more like the confidence of ourselves. To what extent we can believe what we can achieve, how much, or how high level. Yes, it is important in learning new things. Yes.
Yes, that's great. That's great, guys. Perfect. Mohammed, I'm going to pass on you, and I would like you to tell me a little bit about anxiety. Can you describe a time when anxiety interfered with a learning experience? How did you handle it?
Um, when I was like in primary school and I was a student, teacher used to be a little bit violent. Like there was like a concept of punishment. Like if you don't do your homework, you get punished. So of course this would make students anxious. But you'd be like a kid and you can't do anything about it. And after that, like in secondary and high school, when I realized that the way I'm learning English is not being productive in improving my skills, I became somehow anxious about my learning process and about my my skills. So at that moment, what I did is that I started to depend on myself and to seek some resources and platforms in order to improve my English skills. So this is how I handle it when I grew up and I started learning English kind of independently.
Oh, I like that. I like that how you managed to do it, because yes,
Mhm.
most of learners around the world experience this kind of anxiety when they are at school or when they are learning a language. Tao, how is it in Vietnam? It's these students that maybe you have had, they also experience, or you as a student, you also experience this kind of anxiety when you were learning English?
Yeah, because we are studying and teaching in a test driven environment. So student, it is easy to for student to get anxious over time. And we teachers try to as much as possible to reduce their anxiety, self-doubt, and to motivate them to tackle the tests and prepare for the exams. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's something that it is familiar, I think, for all of us in our cultural backgrounds. Lishin, I would like to pass now to you, and I would like to ask you, what role do you think taking risks plays in successful language learning?
Yeah, I would take my students as examples. For some of my students who have high propensity of taking risks, they prefer to choose the flexible method when facing difficulties rather than waiting for the correct answer. Yeah. Mm. And that kind of learning method can enhance their confidence or their self uh, efficacy in turn, and that can shape a healthy learning circuit. Yes.
That's great. That's great. Mohammed, what do you think is the role of taking risks when you are learning a language?
Well, sometimes taking risks means like when you are compromising on some things. So, for example, when I was learning English in high school, I somehow compromised on my studies or homework in English and prioritized something else, which is like depending on myself and seeking other resources and to like to watch some kind of videos, episode, podcasts, and which, in my opinion, was like more productive in improving my English skills. And at that moment, I started like compromising a little bit on the classroom activities or something like this.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Okay, now I would like now to ask you something a little more personal. Could you share with us a time when you achieved a language goal that felt out of reach? How did it impact your confidence?
This is a question for me, right?
Yes, yes, for you.
Let me think. Actually, I have I had the opportunity to take part in many kind of exams or like awards, and there was that one time when I got the like the bronze medal in a national English test,
Yes.
and that was when I was in grade 9, I think, grade 9, yeah, and I was 15 years old back then,
Wow.
and yeah, and at that time, like that is the biggest achievement so far, yeah, to that point. So I got a lot of confidence compared to the previous period. Yeah. And that motivates me to major in English as a high school student, and then the pathway goes directly from an English major to English undergraduate, and then I became an elite teacher. So I think that like really propels me to like to enhance my skill and to spend more time and effort in this language in
Yes.
order to become a teacher. Yeah.
Yes. Wow. That's great. That's actually very motivating as well. And we
Yeah.
are going to talk about that motivation in a little moment. Lishin, what about you? Can you share a time when you achieved a language goal that felt out of reach? How did it impact your confidence?
Mm, yes, when I was in my last year in my university, yeah, I was attending a teaching competition represent my university. That is, that was a very important competition at that time. So I was very anxious. Yes. Um, but my tutor gave me a huge assistance at that time, and she helped me to divided my huge tasks into several parts, and each during, for example, some for each week we will handle one task, and during the calculation, I can calculate my uh, confidence step by step. Yes. Uh, during that through that competition, I feel that I'm more confident in becoming a teacher in the future.
That's great. That's great. And that's also very motivating for all our listeners who are thinking about becoming English teachers. So, in talking about motivation, Mohammed, I would like to ask something specific. What are the biggest motivators for you in learning English? And what could we do as teachers to help our students keep their motivation?
Um, well, since I was a kid, kids have like a sense of curiosity. You want to learn about stuff. And for me, I've always wanted to learn about other cultures, other nationalities. And I believe that English is like a bridge connecting many parts of the world. It's like an international language. And believing in this, and out of curiosity, I started to develop like an interest to learn English. So it was like out of intrinsic motivation just to improve my English skills and to be able to connect to other cultures. So this kind of motivation actually motivated me to depend on myself, as I mentioned before, to improve my English skills. So motivation plays a big or a crucial role in the process of learning a second language. But it's worth mentioning that some students will not have like this kind of intrinsic motivation. So what you can do as a teacher is to uh, you gotta like try to instill some kind of motivation in them, but I guess it would be hard for you to instill intrinsic motivation because intrinsic motivation is like self developed by students. So what you can do is just to showcase them for example, the professional like opportunities they will get when they have an English proficiency, and the fact that we live in a world that is connected together through English. Like for example, when you have a better or when you have a good English, you will have a better understanding of the world. So and actually a lot of research papers are like published in English. A lot of international platforms are in English, and in for you to like to be excellent also academically in English language is important, like in higher education, for example, in masters or PhD. So by showcasing them these opportunities to the students, they will start to develop some kind of motivation, even though it would be like extrinsic motivation, but it's worse or it's like very important for them to develop and to improve their English.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And I also would like to say and to take a specific part of what you said. And I believe the best way of motivating others is showing them what they can achieve. You guys and ourselves, we are a big motivation for a lot of people because we have achieved lots of goals that for some people are kind of a dream to study, for example, at Glasgow University. This also shows other people that dreams are possible and you can dream if you want to. So that's a really good example of how we can do it. Now, what are the biggest motivators for you in learning English? And what can we do as teachers to help our students to keep their motivation?
Okay, so I can say that my motivations to learn English starts from like my ability to learn this language because uh, for other subjects I cannot learn as well as in English. So I need to like foster and reinforce my strength, yeah, to become capable in at least one field. So I think that's the biggest motivation for me. And like later on, English is like becoming an industry in Vietnam. So I try to learn as well as possible to become a like an efficient teacher, so that I can deliver like good lessons and experience to my student.
Yes, that's great. I think the best way to also try something is when we are trying first and when we learn first about what we have to do. Liu Xin, let's move to take risk again, because I would like to ask you about what advice you have as a teacher now, but you were also a learner. What advice would you give someone what advice would you give to someone hesitant to take risks in their language journey?
Yeah. I think this question, it depends on two parts in our real context. First one for the teachers. Yes, for us, we have to create a relaxed atmosphere for students so they can talk and express freely in our classroom, which can enhance their feeling or sense of safety. And they dare to speak, they dare to express, they dare to make mistakes, and that is important. For the second part is the students themselves. I know to overcome the fear is really hard for them, so they can start from small groups. I think you can first start, for example, speaking in front of 2 people or 4 people, and then you can improve your propensity, yes, gradually. Yeah, we can divide the huge task into small parts. That will make the students more comfortable, and they can build up their confidence or their efficacy step by step. Yeah.
Yes, that's how as I would also summarize it. It's a process of step by step. You start doing it, and step by step you are going to gain the confidence you need to build
Yeah.
up your knowledge. That's great. Mohammed, you as a teacher and also as a learner, what advice would you give to someone hesitant to take risks in their language journey?
Mm. As Lucine mentioned, I will try to make the classroom as supportive as possible for students and as safe, secure for them, to not be like hesitant, for example, to explore, to make mistakes, because making mistakes is a natural process of learning a second language. And when they are like a bit hesitant and fearing from making mistakes. This will stop them from taking risks or exploring the aspects of language. So by building a supportive environment for them, this would motivate them to explore, take risks, and make mistakes, as many as they would do in order to reach a stage where they are capable and proficient in English use.
Yes, I agree with you guys. And somehow, all the concepts we were discussing today, self-efficacy, anxiety, motivation, and risk taking, all of them are connected. And all of these are steps that we experience when we are learning. And I believe that through our experience as teachers, we can also motivate future teachers to do the best they can do. So, this is it, guys. Thank you so much for being here in this episode of our podcast, and I hope to see you again in a next opportunity. So, thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thanks
Thank
so much
you.
for having
You,
me. I look forward to the next episode.
Me
Yes,
too.
we are going to do it.
you,
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye. So, bye
thank
bye,
Bye.
Lutin. Bye bye, Mohammed. Bye bye, Tao.
Bye.
Enjoy your day. Thank you.